When something comes easy to us, it's easy to take it for granted. Or maybe if we just do something and it's just something we do on the side, we don't think much of it. The situations come up where I'm watching someone else's video, and it's about something in mainstream YouTube content, huge creators. And within that, there's a discussion about the fact that within a YouTube media company, you'd have people that do the editing, there'd be all sorts of positions someone would have. And they were discussing independent creators, those who like to do everything themselves. There'd be some people who like to just do video editing, some people that maybe just like to write a script, some people who maybe come up with concept. There'd be people who have positions when the organization's big enough. But as an independent, it's your role to do all of it. And they were making the point that some people love to have that creative capacity. They like to have just to do everything. It's enjoyable. To other people, maybe they'd rather just do one thing. The other thing they touched on, the fact that if you was with one of the more established media companies, the one who's presenting, because it's the face of the brand, they should get paid more, because that is literally the highlight, really, the top position you could have as an employee. Because you would really, wouldn't you? If you think about it, if you was to join, you was being an editor in some way, you'd naturally be thinking, if you've got some ambition, where does this lead? To be the face on the camera would be something quite prominent. That'd be really cool. So, watching that just as a normal viewer, it made me a bit more proud, but not just proud. I just felt more. I don't know. I don't know what the word I'm going to say. It's just fortunate. I feel fortunate that I'm able to do what I do. I do it all myself. But yeah, I can create content and I could talk about whatever topic I want. And I don't have to work for someone to do it, which is pretty cool. I don't get paid for it. I've never been able to monetize anything. But if you go away from the money side, it's pretty cool that I've given myself this platform to do what I do. Whereas some people always stay hidden away from the camera. So that just made me go, whoa, yeah. All from this situation that's transpiring at the moment, where people are leaving this company, a big company, they're leaving to create their own brand because they want that control over things and they want to fulfill an ambition, but also they want to make more money. But the funny thing with my stuff, what I do, I've always considered video content an afterthought. I've always just thought of it as like, this is just something else I can dabble with. It's not something I like take deeply serious. Like for me, if anyone thought about like what it is I do, I'm an author. I write my books. That's how I see it. It's like I'm a writer. It's just I have no problem putting my face on camera, and I have no problem speaking off the. I don't do notes. I just have the topic and I talk. It's probably quite apparent in some of the videos. But yeah, this is just something else I do, and I do recognise a lot of writers are far more introverted. They don't feel comfortable with public speaking. They don't feel comfortable being on camera. It's out of their wheelhouse. For me, I can do all of it because maybe my strength is the fact that I'm just a communicator, and it doesn't matter if I'm speaking one-on-one with people or whether I'm doing on camera or whether I'm writing. It's just, for me, it's all one and the same. It just makes no difference. But one thing I do notice with what I do, and again, it's not about views because I don't get the views and I don't get the the financial reward from it. I see a lot of, well, think about it this way. It's not just YouTubers. Content creators are everywhere, even on social media. There's a lot of content creators that they could do with watching their own content back, and I think being a bit more self-critical. The standards are too low. And I say that because there's so many I scroll past. And it's not because they're not good at what they do. And it's not because it's not interesting. It's because they're mannerisms. And again, if you're going to be a communicator, then it's up to you to elevate your standards to be the best you can be, because it is a very competitive field. And surely you want to be the best at what you can be. I don't even consider myself like a presenter or anything. Like I said, I consider myself a writer, but when I talk, I take it serious. So me taking it serious means that other people should take it serious. What I witness time and time again is so many repetitive words, so many unnecessary words. Now, the average person maybe doesn't have a problem with it. I do. I pick up on things like this all the time. So someone at the end of a sentence, I don't want to start doing it because you start picking up mannerisms from things like that, I don't want that to happen. But they'll start saying okay at the end of a sentence. So let's say things are going to improve for you, okay? And, hopefully it'll get better, okay? And it'll continue. I'm not exaggerating it. They'll do this all the time. And it's like, from my mind, it's like, why do you keep adding okay at the end of this shit? Because that's it. It's like a ringing. For me, it's like a bell, and I can't not notice it. And I know people might think you're being anal retentive. You're being too picky. You're being a pain in the ass. It's like, I can't cope. It bothers me too much. So if someone says it once, it's fine. But when they continually do it, it's ridiculous. I've got one content creator that always says cousin at the beginning, referring to the audience as cousins. I can't get my head around that. I don't care if it's a cultural thing. It's just stupid. You don't need to do that. When you are, and again, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this isn't just an average person. This is, if you're a content creator, then your standard should be high. Doesn't matter if you're doing it on social media, or if you're doing it on YouTube, or you're doing it at a higher level. We should be holding ourselves accountable and presenting to the highest standard, because that's what we're doing, portraying a message. So it's how we articulate is deeply important. So even let's say I started rambling off and going off topic, it's really important though that I'm still structured and I'm still maintain composure. I don't sit there going every time I try and think. So I could sit there talking now and go and yeah. So then we do the yeah. So many sports personalities do that. I might do it sometimes because it is a natural thing when you want to think. I've got a moth. I now got See what I mean? These mannerisms, they kick in. Once you are aware of it, it becomes a problem. That's why it's really important that we train ourselves not to do that. So I tried, maybe it's natural to say It's just, even see people say like all the time. I'm going to have a couple of examples in a minute. And it's not, what I really wanted to do, and it's not me trying to be a pain. I really wanted to raise awareness of it though. Just to highlight issues, and then maybe it'd be a bit more obvious to people what I'm actually trying to say. But it would be so time consuming, I haven't even got the patience to do it. Again, don't consider myself a video content creator in the same way other people do. I don't edit my work. I don't even have the patience for that. I could split my video and then put some sort of advert promoting my book somewhere in the middle. I could do all those sort of things like other people. I don't want to. I create the video and I just literally submit the video. For the most part, unless I really need to do something, most part it's not. So I don't even bother with video editing. Now, some people might think that's crazy, but what I would say is what you see in the videos I do is me the same, in the sense that I've not cut content. It's me from the start to finish. So, okay, maybe you should be editing, maybe you should be doing things to fine tune. But I would argue that because I hold myself accountable and I've trained myself over a period of time, picked up on things that I felt were repetitive or a standard I could elevate, I naturally do it in the same way I do that with my writing. So when I write, I don't always have so much editing to do because I'm always fine tuning anyway. So I always have high standards. So I have high standards when I speak now. I have high standards when I write. So the editing phase isn't so compulsory. Of course, I edit with my work. The standard has to be at that higher level. But I feel like my standard's decent enough doing what I do here that I don't have to go through and mess about. So that's a problem I have with a lot of content creators. When I witness them and I listen to them speak, it's quite evident to me that they either don't watch their content back to actually learn from what they're doing themselves, because maybe they think they're so great and they don't have to, which is quite naive and stupid, quite reckless really. There's no growth to be had there. Or they do watch their content back, but rather than look for flaws and way to improve, they're just literally watching it back to praise themselves and feel proud. It's like, it's good to feel proud, but you've really got to elevate your standards, So I'm going to show some examples in a moment where people just have a mannerisms that trigger me. I literally can't get over it. I know I've said literally a few times there, and I'll pick up on that as well. And that's what I do. I pick up on things. Yeah, I'm going to make mistakes like everybody else, but it's rare you're going to see that mistake twice in another video. It's hard when you talk not to repeat it in a session. That's something that takes a lot of self-control. I can do it, but you will find it slips because that's your mannerism in that moment. After that, we train ourselves. Don't do that. That's not good. That's ruined everything. And that's the way I see it when other people do their content. The repetition and stupid words at the end of a sentence or the beginning of a sentence, it kills the sentence. Someone starting a video saying cousin immediately throws me off. It doesn't matter how deep that conversation's going to be. I'm not your cousin. Surely you understand your ancestry and your heritage and the fact that a cousin is someone that's a family member. A cousin is not a stranger on the other side of a screen. So the idea that you're suggesting that I'm your cousin, I know it's, again, even if it's cultural, I don't care. You don't hear, the best way to put it, and again, I know how I come across saying that. I'm a very direct person. I really don't care how it comes across. The reality is, if you turned the TV on and you watched any channel of anyone presenting, there's no way you're going to hear someone refer to someone else as their cousin without them being their cousin. And even then, they would refer them by their name. So the standards has to be the same as what you see on TV. In my opinion, that should be the standard. Now, I think personally, we should always try to elevate. So I get really fed up with sports personalities personally. I know they have to think on the spot, but they do all the time. Doesn't matter what sport it is, in what country, they'll say constantly. And it throws me off because I'm like, that's unnecessary. You don't need, if you went into a video editing software, took the recording of any of these personalities and cut all the you'd realize it's quite intelligent, it's very direct, and it's good. But the kill it. It just makes them all seem stupid. Why does it seem stupid? Because they're really reckless with the way they're speaking. It's natural when we pause, especially if people are waiting and it's being filmed, to fill a gap. So while you're thinking, even if it's for a subtle moment, your natural instinct is to not have people waiting. So you're going to fall into that pattern of filling it with noise. You're better off not. A lot of the time, our brains think faster, like they process faster than we really think the situation is, especially with me. So I might think I'm waiting. If I'm thinking, I think I'm waiting 10 seconds. That's far too uncomfortable. In reality, it was milliseconds, maybe 2 seconds at the most in a worst case scenario. People don't notice 2 seconds. So there's no reason to do the ums. It's okay. You can just think. Just think. You don't have to open your mouth when you think. Maybe that's the way to train yourself. When you're thinking, don't open your mouth until you're ready to say something. This is standards. So when we go full circle there and we talk about presenting, it's not, for me, it's not just the way you look on camera. It's far more fundamental how we speak on camera. And that's something that bothers me in so many areas. Even though I'm not even a professional in that area. But I hold myself to a standard of a professional. And I can't help it when I see people that do not respect that standard. Because I can't tolerate it. Like I said, it's like a bell going off in my mind. So if someone says okay, or right, or like, or or cousin, or they sip a freaking drink on camera, there's two people, I'll tell you what, there's two people I've seen on social media, and it's so amateurish, and yet they think they're doing something cool and different. And for me, you're just killing your content. And again, a lot of these people, I don't leave comments on people's videos, but in them instances, the ones I'm talking about, even the ones that repeat, I really want to say something in the comment, but I know they'll take it the wrong way. It'll offend them. It won't have the desired effect. It won't make them internalize and check and improve. So it will only have a negative reaction. So there's no point me saying anything. So instead of interacting, I just skip the video. Yet, if people were open to some constructive criticism, maybe they advance their content and then I can actually enjoy it because I'm sure what they do is actually good after you get past these tendencies, but I can't get past them. So I'm just going to show a couple. I haven't got enough examples. Like I said, I really wanted to go deeper into this. I wanted to do a compilation And I was going to even show some sports personalities, so some famous, what we'd consider famous people. Then I was going to share content creators traditionally. And there may be some examples of people who I think are very good on camera. And there's plenty of ones that are, though. But I think maybe they should be respected more. So before we get there, actually, because I forgot to say, the two that bother me at the moment, ones I've seen, one puts the phone, because it's their camera, so it's their camera on their phone. They put it on a chair across the room, not too far away, but enough. And they introduce by saying, it's a tarot reader, so spirituality. They start talking, and then they say, come here, come over here, get closer. And then they drag the seat, because that's what it's on, or whatever it's on, a cushion, and they drag it all the way to them, like they're bringing you to them. And they think that's cute, and it irritates the shit out of me. So I'm like, every time he does that, I turn over. I just switch the video, because it's a gimmick and it just pisses me off. Because you do it once, it's like, okay, you're trialing something, you're trying to be a bit different. Okay, I can understand it. Every single video is no longer cute. If I don't want to say if other people are not doing it, it's not worthwhile, but I think sometimes you have to read the room. There's a reason people don't do that, you know? So when they do it, I'm like, I can't watch you anymore. I can never watch your content. They often did things that annoyed me in the past anyway, so it's not content creator I often found bearable. They seem nice. If when you look at their consider their personality, it seems nice enough. But in terms of the way they present, it's just an irritant for me. I can't even tolerate it. The other one was like this. I kid you not. You ain't gonna. I got noise cancelling, but again, this is standards. I'm not even what I consider professional video content creator. Even I have standards. I invested in a decent microphone. If people want to take it seriously, you're going to be a content creator. These are the minimum you should be doing. You advance from your phone to start having a better setup. It's not overly expensive. I've already discussed it. 160, 170 pound microphone. You can get a cheap microphone arm. I used to have one that was about 20 pounds. This one is actually 100 pounds because I wanted the flexibility when I do gaming content, which I'm stopped doing for a while, and I don't even know if I'll return to it. I don't know. But I would like that flexibility. I can move it around. It goes further. The other one maybe went to about here, and I had to turn the microphone. It might be all right for some people. Again, if you want a budget, go with that. I wanted something that I'm taking it serious. I've done a lot of videos. Makes sense. So 170 mic, £100 mic arm, £130 audio interface, which is where the microphone goes to, then it goes to the computer. The software I've got on my computer, absolutely free. My camera is £100. It's a 4K camera. It's awesome. It's supposed to be about 150, £160. I got it on sale, about 120, 100. What's about that? Bargain for what that does. And a ring light, just one ring light above me, and I've got a screen light above, but that doesn't actually help with the video at all. That's it, and a green screen. But these are things you invest in if you're going to at least try to elevate your content. So all that just to say that I can control external audio. I've got a fan next to me. I don't like, when I'm recording, I don't like to feel hot. So I always have a fan on. No matter where the weather is, the fan's on. And you never hear it. You never hear my fan. You don't hear the computer next to me because I've gone through the effort to make it as comfortable as I can for the listener. There was someone else who did a video earlier, and they went right up to their microphone, and they were loud, spoke loud, and they stepped away. And this is on social media. And I think they amused themselves because they don't know what it sounds like. They're not listening to their own voice. And they went to do it again. And I thought that irritated me the first time. So they went to do it again, and I just scrolled off. I thought, I've got no patience for this shit. Just be professional. You don't have to do gimmicks. I hate all this crap. I hate the ones where, these are AirPods, forget that they're anything else. They get these stupid little microphones, and they talk like this. And it pops a lot. It's loud, explosive. They can't control the depth of their voice. They can't control the volume. And they do this, and it's no better than your phone. Just stop with that shit. It hurts my ears. So again, even if that one's really smart, intelligent, got something deep to say, they've ruined it by the cheap gimmick they got going on. It's like, stop with this crap, man. I wouldn't normally go on a rant like this, but if we're talking about presenting, these are standards. And of course, me talking leaves me open to criticism anyway. Because I'm sitting here criticizing other things that annoy me. People would have every right to criticize anything I do. But I don't want to say people have a hard time. I'm sure I've done a few things wrong. But even as someone who doesn't consider this my main priority, I have set high standards. So even me, like with the green screen, I don't want to keep setting the screen. So I've spoke about it before. It's irritating for me. It's on a frame, so I have to take the frame down so it's compact. Then when I want to do a video, I have to put it back together. It doesn't take that long, but it's a pain in the ass. Then you've got to get the green screen to go over the frame, and you've got to clip it on. It's a process. Then I've got to drag it across the room and try and get it behind me perfectly because it's only so wide. I have to get it absolutely spot on every time. It's not a permanent feature. It annoys the shit out of me. So it'd be nice if I could do it without a green screen, but the room isn't just suitable. So again, standards. I have to do these things to make the quality what I want it, even though I would rather not. But anyway, all I want to do is show people that you can always elevate your content. Anyone starting off very first time you create content is going to be inferior. You're not going to have the right equipment. You're going to have things to learn. There's going to be things you adapt. I've adapted so much since I first started creating content a long time ago. You start off just trying to be, you obviously be yourself, but you might feel a bit reserved, maybe not confident. And then maybe you've done enough content and you start to, this is with me, let's just start, I'll say how I was, because I used to do gaming content. So I'd watch the videos back, and a lot of time it was the gaming quality, for instance, I wasn't happy with, but the computer, for instance, would probably not powerful to do it, to render it in the way that it should, So there's limitations. We can't do anything about that. So I couldn't focus heavily on that, even though it was fine anyway. Then I'd look at my content and I'd think, oh, this doesn't look right. Like maybe the camera's a bit blurry because it's not high enough resolution, or maybe the focus is too wrong, or maybe it keeps changing focus. I can't remember the specifics, but there'll be a moment when I'm thinking to myself, I'm fed up recording and then having content that I'm not happy with. And let's say you're going to have this content for years to come. I just done a video. I expect that to last 10 years. Oh, but that video looks poor. You're not going to watch that after. Once you get a better camera, you're never going to like that video. Oh, then I better get a better camera. Now, me personally, I think the microphone's more important than the camera, because you can have no image of you. You can just have a microphone voiceover and it's fine. You can't do it the other way. You can't just have yourself there and you're muted. That's just weird. So I think get a microphone, but you can get cheaper microphones, like 50, 60 pounds, and you can upgrade again later. It's all stages, of course, but it's about to do research and do things right. And of course, then go through the effort of getting the software. I hear so many content creators, again, on social media, because I find YouTube's more professional. Social media, they do gimmicks, and I don't like it. They might get a microphone like mine. I go cheaper because I know the cheap ones. They're very plasticky. Not a criticism, because I could get a cheap plasticky one working pretty good. You just got to take some time on your computer to do it. It's not rocket science. But again, it's like anything I do, even like my books. It's like you learn a skill, you figure it out. But if you can't be bothered, half-assing something, you're only going to get half-assed results. So I see people with a microphone that I know could perform better, just a bit of software to do some bit of noise cancelling, again, block out the noises. You don't want, if you're doing for instance, if I'm sitting here and we only have my microphone, there's 3 people, I would have to change my settings because I don't want it closed off, because it needs to be able to have a wider range so it can pick up the external sounds. In that instance, I probably have to have the fan off and trying to remove as much external noise as possible, because we're going to have to, or I might even have to get a different microphone. I think it's a condenser microphone I had in the past. It can pick up wider sounds away from you rather than so centralized. Again, these are things to learn. These are things people should know if you're going to go in content creation. So I hear people's microphones who look like they've got something similar to me. They're the only ones there, and they hit the table or they just knock the mic arm and it goes boom. All you hear is boom through the mic. I can't do it a lot because it will cancel. Like if I was to just stop talking and click, it probably won't even come up. Let me see. Oh, it did. Sometimes it don't work. I don't know how loud that was. But anyway, they'll do these noises. Let me see if it does it mine. Nothing. I know it's nothing because I monitor the monitor thing. That's really important as well, that you make sure you're aware of the sound quality. I know there was nothing coming out because the bar wasn't even moving. But their one, that would echo through and we'd hear it. And it's like, that's so off-putting. You're doing a video and all I'm hearing in my sound is this booming noise and this scratching noise or something painful. That's not good enough. Standards, So anyway, I know we're picking here, but again, presenting isn't all about you. That's what I'm trying to get at. Presenting isn't always about your face. It isn't about your clothes. And, it can be, depends how you want to elevate and what you're expecting of your content. But there's so much more to it. It's how we carry ourselves, how we talk. But not only how we talk, it's about the hardware too. So, I'm sure in the future my presentation will change. Hopefully, I'll be in a better room environment, so I don't need a green screen anymore. I'd love that. Where maybe I've got things on me, like I've got a room where it's actually dedicated to content creation, and I can have things I enjoy, like on shelves, and you get to see maybe a bit more personal, just a personalized background where you get to see, it's just a bit more intimate rather than this shit. But this is still better than the alternative. Now, look, I swore there, and maybe that's a standard people should be held to. If you was on TV, you can't swear, but then we're not on public TV, so we can. But again, these are standards, aren't they? Does an audience expect you to swear? It's not about not being ourselves, but it's again elevating standards. So really, if we're going to be at the top of our a profession, then you probably shouldn't be swearing all the time. And perhaps that's something I should lean towards as well. I think there's always an exception, but I think if I was to watch this back myself, which I always watch every video back, and people might think you do it because you're just self-obsessed. It's not. I always want to know what I said because I'm off the cusp. It's not a script. It's not like I get to read a script that I've wrote and then I just go off and I know exactly how that went. I don't know. I'm talking off the cusp. I want to watch it back the same way someone else would. And I think it's really important that I do that because then I get the same experience someone else does. So I'm sure when I watch it back and I hear me swear, it's not that I'm embarrassed in any way. I don't really care. But if I'm talking about standards, I'll probably look at that and think that was unnecessary. If there's a time, if there's a topic and there's a reason for it, then fine. But I think me swearing, even if it's not a big swear, I think it degraded the content. And maybe me not talking about it, people wouldn't have noticed. But, I notice everything. I notice everything with others, but I also notice it with me. And that's the standards, So anyway, let's watch. So people might not have a problem with these videos, and believe me, I've seen far worse. So this isn't me trying to say these are the worst of the worst. It's not. It's just I thought earlier I might do a video on it, and I thought I can't be bothered. I'm not going to do it. Then I saw this other video, and I just thought that was interesting because it literally, again, I said literally again, it focuses on presenting to a degree. And I just thought, that crosses over what I was going to do. I might as well talk about it. But I would love to have the better examples. But for me to do that would mean rummaging through videos, hoping I find the ones that trigger me and then make a note of the timing of it, the exact time sequence. And then I can try and put it together. But what a hassle that would be. And that's the other thing people probably don't realize is when you create video content, and especially when you have an external source, if you're going to do editing, to edit anything takes hours. It would take absolute ages. If I had videos of other people and I'm trying to find specific moments and then I want to edit it into another video, that's a lot of time. And considering I don't get a lot of views yet, it doesn't grow. So it's not worth my time to go and add an extra few hours. It could be a long hours, maybe 5 hours, depending on the content and how long the original content is, the source material. It could be any time. And it's just extra work for me when there's no real reward. There's no benefit. It's not worth me doing that. When the video, for instance, I could talk here for half an hour, whatever it takes, and then I'm done. There's no need for any of that. So anyway, let's just get on with this one. So I don't want to be, I think there 3 of them are women, but it's only the way it come out. It's not I'm picking at women. There's just as many guys. I just said the guy with the chair does my absolute head in. I don't think I'm going to be able to get him because I can't just pick and choose what I get on my phone from my feed, I think what I might do is see if I can, we'll just keep it to these. I think what I would suggest is people maybe listen when you watch content and you consume it, have high standards and listen to the people and you'll pick up on it just like I do. And then see if you can ignore it. And then if you hear it again in other content, see if you can ignore it again because maybe it's just me. Maybe other people don't care. But again, we're talking about standards. If you want to be the best at what you do, and perhaps it's impossible, but at least the best for yourself, then it's really important not to just slack off and do annoying tendencies. I'm not sure if she's going to do anything because I can't remember the video. So we're going to see. Let me get the video up so you can see. Okay, not a personal attack. We're just talking about mannerisms. I'm not trying to say this, anything else. We're just picking up mannerisms. Doesn't matter if she's a man, a woman, doesn't matter what culture she's from or religion. All those things are pointless. All we're looking at is mannerisms. And this is just the example I have. I'm pretty sure she's going to do something. I think it's going to be the word like. Got a couple of these that use the word like. I've got one that says okay an awful lot, and I think they're the only ones we've got at the minute. But I've got even worse examples if I would have had. And one other thing before we get there, because this is I'm only picking at things that annoy me. Other people might not have a problem and it's fine. yeah, I'm just going to put, because we're talking about presenting, I think it's important. I don't like pretentious people. So if someone's trying to say something and maybe they're trying to explain to the audience from a position of like a higher level, like maybe you know a topic and you're just you're sharing it with someone, or you're providing insight. You feel you're bigger than the people you're talking to. I don't like people talking down to people, even if it's subtle. I pick up on everything. So when for instance, we're going to show you, and let me just take this video off just briefly. It's hand movements. And people might just do it naturally, but again, pisses me off. Again, I swap at AO, one of those videos. Because when I get triggered, I get triggered. If they start doing this, I can't even come up with a concept because I don't even know what they're waffling on about. I need an example of it, but they do this shit. Stop with your hand crap. Don't do that. And I've got one that enunciates or talks slowly, or they do something very specific, and I can't get my head around it. Every time they speak, I switch off. So even just the way people talk, because I think what it is with me, I know when someone's speaking naturally, when they're putting on a tone or they're exaggerating something, and I don't like it at all. And some people put on a posh twang at the end of their voice, at the end of a sentence and things, or the way they just, every word. It's, oh, no. If you can't be you, then I'm not listening. Unfortunately, I don't have examples, so I can't really elaborate on that. Let's see what she does. Again, I think look out for the words right, okay, and like. They're the ones that are really going to come off on these ones, I think. And it's not going to be once, believe me.
The angels would like to give you some answers. Did you see that? What's this card? Ooh, compromise. And there's a balance scale here. Libra might be significant. I'm also seeing like the justice card in my mind's eye.
See, don't worry about the content. Don't worry about any of this. I get a lot of spiritual content. I saved this for the purpose of mannerism. Let's just see if something happens, because I can't remember.
And like balance, things coming back into balance. The angels want to remind you.
I think she's the I think that's the Let's listen for ums. That's what I picked up on.
Hey, the angels would like to give you some answers. Did you see that? What's this card? Ooh, compromise. And there's a balance scale here. Libra might be significant.
That's one
I'm also seeing like the justice card in my mind's eye. And like balance, things coming back into balance. The angels want to remind you that compromising has its limits. 33. There's only so much you should really compromise in things that you want and deserve. There's a limit of that. And the angels love you so much, they're literally like, don't over-compromise here. Like, your dreams are so valid, and your dreams are like, they're dreams for a reason. You wouldn't want them if they weren't significant, and if they weren't a part of your destiny. You know what I'm saying? Especially the really important stuff. If you believe that you're meant to have it. Okay.
Okay,
the justice card is significant.
I'm not trying to be an arse. It's just I'm just picking it up. The reason I'm repeating it is to emphasize. It's just what I pick up on all the time, and it just drives me nuts. Because if you, I'm not going to go back and show it all again and say if you didn't put that there, didn't put that. It does, for me, it minimizes the content. It's so avoidable and unnecessary.
Hi. Yeah, I went green. I don't know.
Some of them have nice personalities. Again, this isn't an attack on their personality. It's the quality of the presentation.
By Loki. Has a message. It's very like straightforward. It's actually very sweet.
She's done an and a like already.
For this collective, he's been coming in like very loving, and like I'm gonna cry because this is how he's coming in right now.
It's a 3 likes so far, 2 ums.
He's being very nurturing. He's like being
I can't.
very
I'm sorry. Just that's what I'm like. I'm not trying to do this to be like aggressive or anything. I literally can't put up with this shit. I know I've said literally in this video far too many times. Cut that crap out. But I can't. Once they do it, look. See, they got me saying freaking like now. We'll give her. I'm normally quit by now. When you see me agitated, that's when I would literally. Oh, God damn! I can't even stop saying literally now. Got my own faults. But I would have swiped. We're gonna give it 10 seconds because I think she's gonna do it again. She's gonna say like or okay. I don't think okay. I think it'd be and like within 10 seconds. So we're on. I'm just trying to show the consistency of the problem. It's not the fact they've done it once or twice. It's that it's going to be throughout. We're at 42 seconds. So let's say we get to 1 minute. Guarantee something's going to come out in that.
like holding you, right? You know when you're alone in bed and you like feel like no one's
We've had freaking right, like, and then twice the like already within the space of 3 seconds.
there. He's kind of like...
Oh, come on. I can't. I've already said I'm triggered. I said we'll get to a minute. We're at 51. That was literally 8 seconds. 8 seconds and we've had freaking 6 of this shit. I can't.
Keon, right?
This is the famous football. These are footballers, and that's what I'm saying about right at the end. God, I can't stop saying literally now. They've messed me up.
Martin Keon, right?
Why does he have to say right at the end? Listen to that without the word
Martin
right.
Keon, right? You know, you mentioned Martin. People will laugh when you mention.
I can't deal with it. These are the only examples, I think.
Right now, someone is
I've
seeing
got one more.
you as their ultimate end game. I want like this combo of cards: 10 of cups, 2 of cups, 10 of pentacles. This is someone who is like married, like ultimate.
Jesus Christ, that's 3 likes. I noticed the first like. I didn't put them on it. I don't know if other people noticed it, but I noticed it. And because she was referencing the cards, it's one you can let go because it's relevant to the cards. Then she's done it twice after that. Listen to the first like, which was a natural one, so we're not going to pick at that. And then after that, she went into a frenzy of likes and ums. I think it was. Or was it okay? I can't remember now.
Right
My head's
now,
gone.
someone is seeing you as their ultimate end game. I want like this combo of cards: 10 of cups, 2 of
So like this combo of cards. Okay, I can understand that. Now watch this message.
cups, 10 of pentacles. This is someone who is like married, like ultimate fantasy dream life material. This is how they're seeing you, right?
Can't. I would throw this microphone if I could. I can't do it. I'm done. That's what I'm literally. Oh, God damn! How many literals have I done in this video? Even I'm flawed. Everyone's gonna have their flaws, but you won't hear me. What I'm saying here is, if you see another video of me after, you won't hear me say literally. So I learn. These people don't learn. They don't watch their content back, and I know they don't because it never changes. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to get to a certain level of, I don't know if I've got This is one thing that happens with people. It's the same if you was to have, let's say you yawn. People have a habit of repeating back something. So if you yawn, there's a good chance that someone around you will yawn too. It's very strange, but you try that, it works. So where they're saying and things, it's like the plague. It just catches you. That's why I said at the beginning, I don't really want to show it because you might pick up with subconsciously all of a sudden doing it. Got a free but my mind. I mean, I'm quite good at self-control, to be honest. So I wouldn't expect to keep doing it because I'm self-aware. So let's go to this video. I mean, even that, I wasn't doing it on purpose, but I did recognize I was talking slower. But I think if you are aware of something and you're having trouble rectifying it, and you're scared you're going to keep falling into a pattern where you're making mistakes in the way of your talking, maybe it is worth just slowing it down for a moment to recompose yourself, you know. So these guys are great at what they do. Most people are not going to know who they are. They do tech content. So it's really about computer hardware. It's just showing the performance of them and if there's something else happening in the industry with components and things like that. And I like their content for that reason. I also find them easy to listen to. They're Australian, but they don't have these tendencies that trigger me. So I naturally gravitate towards people who have high levels of communication. And I think that's something that, again, I think people take for granted and maybe they don't appreciate as much, but I do. So there's two presenters here. This isn't how they always create their content. This is a different one. It's like their podcast session they're doing at the moment. And I've got to about 40 minutes in. They have repeated the conversation quite a lot. I did notice that. They already explained within the first 10 minutes, and they just kept repeating it round and round and round. They've gone round about 3 times of a very specific situation. They had a conversation between each other, then they circled back to the beginning of it, then said similar thing again, then circled back and did the same. So in terms of the content, because it's off the cusp, they struggle to keep themselves focused off the cusp. That's just an observation I've had, and it was annoying, but that's just, I'm not really going too nutty about that. I can skip forward if I want to. But what I like is the fact they talk. Now, they might have issues that I've not picked up on. We'll see. So I'm at 39 minutes. I don't know what the future's going to be because I've not looked there. So I'd rather do what I've already seen. Let's start at the beginning. It's probably going to be an advert I'm going to have to try and get through because adverts on YouTube are a nightmare. Let's see if we can just start. Well, do I want to go that far back? Let's see if we can go here. I don't want to go too far back because hopefully we can skip an advert.
And that's a decision that as a company they have to make. And it seems like the path that they've decided to go down.
Again, where he said that was relevant to what he was saying. If you look at the background there, that's not why I said about the shelves, because I've seen other people with just a decent background. It's natural background. It's the room you're in. I'd like that myself. So yeah, we're not picking up on the conversation so much as to the topic of. We're just picking up on the way they speak and communicate, and I think it's good.
Down is that there are enough people that they feel they can hire into these roles and do the job well enough that they don't need to necessarily retain people who have maybe even higher values on the sort of independent creator market. And so that's exactly this. Like, if this is going to continue to happen, I wouldn't be surprised if you see more I quit LTT videos over time as the other hosts maybe potentially do this as well. So it's just a thing. This is YouTube now. YouTube's a big business for people. It's a real, like, YouTube's the #1 video platform.
I know he said like a few times, but for me it was relevant to what he's saying. So I don't see it as a trigger moment. It's when people do it when they're struggling to think. He's flowing quite comfortably. What I will say is they both got a different setup. One's got a microphone deeply in front of them. The other one has, by the look of it, one off camera. So it's just a bit more sensitive, I'm guessing. But obviously not banging around on tables, so it's not a problem. His microphone on the left here would be I think it's the bigger brother of this one, because I don't have the, is it Shure, I think the brand is. I've got an S logo, whereas there actually says Shure. So theirs is probably the £300 model, or just over £300. It's the premium one for podcasters. My one's a little bit inferior, but I like it. That has extra bass, but I often find the extra bass, it turns into that radio station noise, and I don't like it personally when it's too deep. Theirs is fine, but other people have it way too deep, and I don't personally like that. But I like their communication. I like this split screen they've got going on here as well. Not normally like that. They usually present in a different scale. But again, because we're talking about presenting, I think it's important. And again, these are things that we should be looking at. If you're always looking to improve, you see other people's content. You can do it for educating yourself, or you just do it because you enjoy watching like the content. I enjoy their channel, so I just watch the channel. But there'll be things you pick up on. I don't know what I've specifically picked up on, but I'm sure, if there's an issue, I'll pick up on it. If there's something they do good, I might pick up on it. This, for instance, I can't remember where I come across it. I didn't used to have this banner, where I've got the time, the date, and I've got a sign. I saw someone had something similar. It was far more professional than mine, but it made me realise that, I think I could do with putting a bit of information on there to keep, not me on point, but I just think it'd be better. Especially time stamping. It don't get lost on YouTube, the time you did it, the date. So I thought that'd be a good little twist there. This I did myself. I just thought I'd twist the video slightly. We'll do a video screen there, and then we'll edit it round. It does cover my books, but it's a necessary evil, I think. But when I look at their content, it looks really, really good. Both contrasting. One's got a bright room behind them because their room's tidy enough. I'm assuming, because if you look carefully, you can see the background there. Maybe it's slightly messy, it's a living room or something, and it's not purpose built for the recording. So I don't know how they've managed to get their background dark, because that'd be ideal for me instead of this screen. So again, that's what I was looking at. Wait, how the hell did you do that? Because you've got a light emanating on you. It's naturally going to glow backwards. So there's obviously I would assume a filter that's allowing the exposure to drop behind you. It's trickery. But these are standards, I'm not of that caliber, and I don't go that deep, but they're things we can pick up on. So you've got two different contrasting presenting on the same channel. Only in this podcast mode. Normally it's different rooms. But that's interesting, I think. So main thing I'm picking up here is the visual quality and the audio quality, and then how they articulate what they're saying. And of course you could argue the clothes, if you want to go that far, they look comfortable. They just wear what they want. I'm just comfortable. I don't really present. I mean, that's the other thing. If you want to seem like a businessman, you could get dressed and suited up every video. If you wanted to look a certain way, I could wear a jacket every time, an outside jacket, and sit there with that. Or you could wear a baseball cap. I've messed around with different things in the past, like with baseball caps and stuff. But these are things. It's a prop, isn't it? It's nothing wrong with that. It's just finding something that works for your branding, I guess.
On the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about real media businesses here.
Yeah. So I guess for the people who are listening and they wonder how we go about things, I'll just quickly explain that because it's quite different. Basically, oh God, I've probably I don't even know. Was it 8 years ago now? Maybe a bit longer. I don't know when you actually came on to the Harbour Unbox.
2018 full time.
Okay. So yeah, about 8 years ago.
Yep.
And you expressed interest in, once you get your university degree, continuing with the sort of stuff you were doing for TechSpot, but with Harbour Unbox. So anyway, we sort of had those conversations. You were interested in joining Harbour Unbox. I had to get Harbour Unbox to a point where I could actually pay you money. Not that I was. So basically, the model we came up with, because I thought if this thing continues to grow the way it is, to be working for a channel one day that hopefully has 1 million subscribers, which it now has, and it would be making good money, but retaining Tim at a wage kind of wouldn't make sense and wouldn't incentivize you to just keep working and pumping out content. Because the thing is as well, which is Jake's going to find out, and these other guys, is you got to continually come up with ideas. You have to put a lot of hours in. It's a very demanding job. So just, again, paying someone a wage to do that's difficult. So we just came up with a revenue split model. So
what I would say, well, wait a minute, let's get his eyes properly. He said basically twice, which is a bit irritating to me because, again, I'm someone that thinks if you remove that, it doesn't. I think it elevates the sentence, but again, that's just nitpicking. They did say once, but again, I think that's a natural thing that we're gonna say when we think. But a lot of time they were flowing fast, weren't they? They was talking fast. They didn't have to pause to say and it works and it flows. So I like the way they communicate. I really do.
That incentivizes you to keep working hard. And if I make more money, you at the exact same time also make more money. So it's a win-win for both of us. And it keeps me motivated. It keeps you motivated. So that's how we do it at Harbour Unbox. It's a revenue split thing. So it's not just me hoarding all the money while Tim sits there trying to survive on his.
Of course, I could go on other channels and talk. There was something I was thinking of sharing, if I can find it. It's different to this, but because we're talking about presenting, it's a podcast. We just take it off for a moment. So it's a podcast, but I don't know if anyone's seen Howard Stern in the USA. He irritates the living shit out of me. It's called The Howard Stern Show, so he makes himself the centre of attention on every show. I think if you've got a guest and they're there to answer questions, they're there to tell their story, I think it's really important to let them speak. You don't have to be the centre of attention every time. So, for instance, if you had a guest on, you would expect to ask them questions and find out about them, but you would, when they've got something to say, surely you would release them to speak. I hate presenters that talk over the guest. There's two I know for sure that do. I'm not sure if I follow both, because one I watched the other day. Let me see if I can find them. Again, we're not trying to be rude, but I think we're talking about standards here. Let me just see. I'm going to try it. Let me just pause it. So I've got a few examples. I could come up with even more. I've got a few examples of ones I think are quite irritating. I
have a great
annoying.
Con Air story.
Some worse than others. And I'll say there's others I could, but I can't remember, to be totally honest. So let's quickly get these up. Don't make this too long. This is an interview with John Malkovich, which, if you listen to him, he's very intelligent. He articulates well. But there's a couple of times when he was trying to relay some information. Like he was thinking and he went to say it, and the presenter cut him off because he was in. they indulge their own ego. That's what the presenters do a lot. They indulge their own ego, and it bothers me so much.
I don't
know if he's an actor, this guy on the left. I'm not familiar with him. He's got a recognisable face, but I'm not sure. But we'll see if he does anything in a minute. I don't want to obviously play the whole video.
We had a house writer called Nick. This package, we did kind of
believe this about people in showbiz. I'm going to say it now. Like,
area poets. That's 500 million. Jerry Bruckheimer producing.
Right.
Sorry, done. Don't really need to read it. I'm not a kind of snob about that.
No, you're not.
I
love it.
Funny things.
I like you more.
I love childish things.
I like you a lot, and I like you more now.
Well,
it's great. Because, like, I have to tell you, I was starting to say this like 20 minutes ago.
That's what I'm saying. He hadn't finished talking. You could have kept that locked in your mind. If you've got something you want to add it after. When there's a natural break, he was still saying something. You just cut it off and ended whatever he was saying. And that was what was interesting. What this guy's got to add isn't the part that's interesting. It's what John Malkovich has got to say. So you're just killing it. You're just killing your guest.
And then was stoned and forgot. But I'm going to say it now. Like, I do spend a lot of time here.
Completely irrelevant. It's just, for me, that was poor. I just thought, no, that's poor, man. That's poor presenting. For
you know, that loser's failure or, lack of success, I guess, at the box office could be and hilarious.
Yeah.
They started doing in Chris Klein.
Walk me through it and what happened.
Deferential to the kid. The kid becomes...
He seems all right, this guy that presents, but he's still a pain because he cuts him off at certain bits. It bothers me immensely.
Becomes this sort of arrogant little pricks. I met so many little pricks. And oh my God. But my parents were not like that, and they sort of kept me, again, growing up in New Jersey, I would go home and I wasn't like going to, you hear about these kids going to parties that they shouldn't be at or being allowed to go off with managers who were, these weird other adult figures in their life. And that's where you hear the stories of molestation or sexual abuse, because the parent was like, oh, okay, this is a manager, an important person who wants to hang with my kid. Maybe he'll get the next job because he goes to this thing with so-and-so. My parents, I was not doing that shit. So my exposure to it was different than a lot of other kids.
So warped that happens ever, and it happens all the time.
All the time. So again, my experience, as all of them are, very unique, very different.
Mixed bag is what it sounds like.
A total mixed bag for me. I learned so much as a kid.
He lets him flow a lot better than the other guy did, I think. And there was someone else, though. There's another presenter. I just can't remember who it was now. This guy does cut him off a good few times, though, and makes it a bit indulgy. But he gives him a little bit more freedom. But I do think presenters should allow the guests to speak. After all, that's what they're there to do. I don't know if we're going to get another example of him being honest. Well, yeah, when you get together, it might help.
It was a tough weekend. It's a tough weekend.
Tough.
Like,
wait a minute, I'm just trying to catch it because I want to see if he interrupts him. Because obviously you could argue it's just a conversation. That's the whole point.
You're drinking, you're doing ecstasy, you're doing cocaine, and it's fun and retrospectively dangerous. What do you think's happening?
So for a while, I thought this is
crazy as some people live, but that's not the content of the video, is it? But yeah, we're not going to go there.
Have you looked at his home door? He's got
this one. You got two. So if there's any Americans watching, this is like European football, so what you would call soccer, we call football. These are previous managers. They've managed teams. And you've got two that have retired and they've been guests on. And one always irks me because they talk over everybody. They actually cut off the whole conversation a lot of time to flash back to something that they've done. And it's like, oh my God, can you not make it about yourself just for a little bit? Because he does it all the time. And I'll show you where, because I know when he does it. Right, wait a minute. Because it'll flash to him. I can check here. Wait a minute. There, let's do here. So the one...
We had 7 sent off in one game in the league.
No, wait a minute.
And a full-blown brawl, which my brother was at the height.
Yeah.
You know, it toughened you up.
Yeah.
You had to be, you had to put your neck on the line.
We talk about the game when we played or managed early on, it was violent. Certainly when we were playing, you know.
Yeah.
Non-league was even worse. I mean, when I'd finished, I actually played a few games in.
So you ain't seeing the example properly there, but he does this all the time. So they get flowing and they'll talk. He wasn't flowing so much there, but usually people are flowing, and he does this. He pulls it in, and he throws the guest off of what they were talking about. So a lot of time when it comes back to the guest, they just naturally go on. The topic's changed, you know. They just go in a different direction, and I'm listening, thinking I was interested in what they were saying, and you've just cut them off, and we've just lost the rest of that part of a story. You know, it's just poor. It's just they're not obviously qualified for this because that's not their forte, but they're doing this now as a new business, which a lot of people are doing with their podcasts. But it's the lack of professionalism that bothers me. Now, you're going to see an incredible version. It's an American that I happened to cross the other day because I saw a podcast. I find some of the guests, some of the topics are a bit boring, to be totally honest. Like the one with Jason Biggs from American Pie started off a little bit interesting, but actually I had to turn it off after a while because the whole video was just about him talking about his party lifestyle, drugs, the fact that he missed out on a few parts and his films weren't quite successful. He was frustrated, his ego, he admitted that. But every time he spoke about drugs, he wasn't regretful. He didn't really he didn't talk in a way that would suggest that it was a bad part of his life. He seems to get excited every time he talks about it. And it's like, this is the problem with the entertainment industry. Is I don't want to go on a tangent because we're talking about presenting, but they lack sustenance and any sort of meaning to their life beyond their art form. So they get bored and they find stimulants to try to satisfy them. And it's for me, it's quite sad. So they struggle to live a normal life. Yet you should be able to function normally without those stimulants. And I think it's sad when your life is determined by that. A lot of these people, they just their life ends early because of some stupid habit. Don't want to go down that, but the fact that he was really on that mindset that this was a good time, and I'm interested in it still today. It's like, my God, I didn't know that, but it's like crazy. But it was boring listening to that for the whole hour and a half, you know. So I started looking through the chapters, and everything was related to his drug habit and alcohol and addictions and all that shit. And I was like, oh my God, I can't listen to this anymore. But this presenter, he gives them room to breathe. He literally lets them flow. And I'm thinking, I know, literally, get it. But I like how he is with them. And then he even provides feedback at the end because he's listening. Like, genuine feedback. So if we go to the end of this chapter, because we'll hear you, what we do it about here. This is AJ from the Backstreet Boys. He's talking about, you know, the things he's been through in his life, the fact that he's had a bit of an identity crisis at times. He's struggled with validation and acceptance even of himself, which was interesting. He spoke about the fact that he went therapy and they focused heavily on authenticity and boundaries, which is interesting because that's something I talk an awful lot about myself because I think that's fundamental to our identity and literally following our own path and being true to ourselves. So that is really important. So the fact that he's learned that is great. I think more people need to. But anyway, we're going to do it from here because it gets to the end of the chapter. So I'm assuming at the end of the chapter he'll provide his update. And that's what I like. I like that he gives room to breathe. Then he provides his update at the appropriate time, which is the right way of doing things.
Are 4 times more likely to develop alcohol dependence and are more prone to drug abuse compared to the general population. 4 times.
So let's go back a little bit.
I know. Because I was there when I was in my addiction. The last people I want to talk to are sober people, because I don't want you to try to teach me anything. I don't want you to come at me.
Interesting.
I don't want to talk to people that are sober. I don't want to be lectured. I don't want to be told what to do, even though I would never have done that.
Did you see that? He was interested. Something really piqued his interest. And a lot of other podcasters or presenters would have cut in straight away because they can't temper themselves. This guy makes a mental note. That's interesting. When you're, I'm still listening because I'm still interested. And when we finish, I'm gonna, or at the earliest, when an opening comes, we can discuss that a little bit deeper. That's just intelligence, and it's just respectful. I think it's just quality. So as soon as I heard this, most people probably just ignore the presenter and focus on the other person. I noticed things, and I just thought the quality was quality, you know.
I would have just been in an ear to listen. Like my sponsor has been for me, like others that are sober, that are friends of mine that have been for me. They've just been a shoulder and an ear.
Right.
But But, you know, literally, I got the text. We were in literally, it was one of our first
We say literally now.
Zoom calls about the residency. And my manager, our group manager, texted me while we were on Zoom, "Oh my God, have you seen this?" And I literally had to get off the call. And I just frozen. And the first person I called was Nicole. She was hysterical. And then I called Kelly. And then I called one of our producers who was on another show, who hadn't heard it yet. The news hadn't broke where she was. So I broke the news to her. And it was just absolutely devastating. I mean, but his legacy will continue. He is remembered for the amazing person that he is. It was so beautiful that his family was so great.
So at this point, he's talking about. I remember it because I was listening. I think I watched the whole thing. I did. He's talking about Liam Payne there.
Gracious to allow us to finish the show and to get the show out.
Yes.
And it was just so beautifully done. The final episode, dedicating the show to Liam and to his family. It was just so beautifully done. It really was. And so
I'm curious what you think of this. So this is a statistic along the lines of addiction. So child stars are 4 times more likely to develop alcohol dependence and are more prone to drug abuse compared to the general population. 4 times, right? You were a child star. Liam Payne was a child star. Why do you suppose that is?
I mean, it's a little bit of a bunch of things. It's product of your environment, who you surround yourself with. You surround yourself with a bunch of yes people, then you're destined for failure.
So what I found interesting there, like, didn't see enough of the presenter really, but he did have some great moments. Then what I'm gonna do at the end of this video is, well, not at the end, when people see it, I always put credits where it's due. So all the videos where I've used someone else's content, even for however short or brief, it will still end up in there. So the TikTok videos, anything I've used of YouTube, it'll be listed in the description. So you have to just press see more, and then you can have access. If anyone's interested in this one specifically, which I would suggest is a good video. It does talk a couple of times, goes around in circles about the addiction and other issues, but that's him discussing a real significant part of his life. And I think there's things you can learn from other people's stories, you know. He's been very transparent and open throughout the video, like I say, and I think the presenter held the conversation beautifully. And I mean, this is where we talk about standards. There's lower standards, there's higher standards, and I think it's important that people learn to improve themselves, because those that don't, they're going to lose an audience. There's a few that I've unsubscribed. I think that Managers one I liked at the beginning. I thought this is refreshing. It's different to some of the other sports podcasts, but the constant interjection and the subverting of the conversation and destroying the guest's momentum, I thought, I can't put up with this anymore, so I unsubscribed from that one. There are other examples I can provide of different podcasts, but there's so many sprouting up now with podcasts and things. It's just getting a bit boring now, isn't it? So for me personally, it's just that one after another. It's like, everyone just wants a bit of the pie, don't they? So forget about it. Anyway, I think I've covered more than enough.